Hey everybody, I'm John.
And I'm Natalie, and we are American Tifosi. On this podcast, we talk everything Formula One, drama off the track, on the track. We're going to be talking about it here.
Yes, and in this episode, we're going to be reviewing the our thoughts on the Australian GP, and it was a crazy banger of a race. We're going to talk about the all the different rookie shenanigans, and we're going to talk about the round two of the 25-year GP. Natalie, what is your lasting memory of the Australian GP?
Yeah, I think that my lasting memory is definitely going to be the Isaac Hajar crash, and not only the crash, just the media around the crash. I'll point out like Anthony Hamilton. I think he handled that like really beautifully. Just with the context of Lewis Hamilton being sort of like a figure for Isaac's jar, and then having his this figure's father step in and give him a few good words. I think that was really special. In comparison to Helmut Marko's remarks, which I don't know if you have any thoughts on that, but that guy needs to get out of F1.
Yeah, I kind of thought it was bad form. I mean, Helmut Marko, everybody knows he's kind of a prick, but the fact that he was saying kind of bad things about his own team, Anthony
Right,
Hamilton is, you would think, a Mercedes or a Ferrari guy because his son Lewis Hamilton is a
right,
Mercedes and Ferrari guy, and Helmut Marko is like true blue Red Bull, and to
right.
say that about Isaac Hajar, and that's his very very first race, his very
Yeah,
first thing. It's not like he's had races like Liam Lawson did or some of these other
right.
quote unquote rookies.
Yeah,
He's like a full on rookie. So I don't know. I was pretty gutted for him, and I don't want to feel good at the expense of Isaac Hajar, but I think my feelings on Yuki. Yuki should have been on the grid in the first place. So this
right.
is just more like, oh man, whatever. My
Yeah.
lasting memory was actually Lando.
Mm,
Lando has a long time been accused of not having being able to have good starts. And how many good starts did he have to have in this race? He had to have like five or six after all the safety
right.
cars and cautions, and the fact that he did it with Lance, or sorry, not Lance, Max breathing down his back, who's a notoriously good and ruthless starter. Um,
Right.
so I don't want to be a front runner, but man, Lando like put all the doubters to shame. So I really uh, cheers to him, and hopefully, I'm sure we'll talk more about this later with the papaya rules and whatnot. But hopefully, it's not a full on year of dominance. But I'm glad it was. This is the first time that Max hasn't led since like 2021 or something like that. So
Right. Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Um, hey, we're back.
Yeah, sorry guys, we've had some technical difficulties. We're both
Yeah.
learning. I'm a boomer, so I'm trying to learn Zoom, and Natalie's in Italy, so
Yeah,
we have some technological difficulties.
we
We're
do.
working through them. Our pod might be up a little bit late, but it's going to
Yeah.
be as authentic as normal. So
Yeah.
yes, now back
Yeah.
to our
We're back.
previously scheduled broadcast.
So
So
yeah, I agree with the Lando stuff. They talk about him choking, and I was I thought about it. I thought this is really impressive to see him restarting the race multiple times. So yeah, absolutely, I agree.
yeah. So, did you think there was anything notable about the qualification of the Aussie GP? Or
Um,
any,
no,
no,
I
it's
can't
kind of. I thought it
remember
was kind
that
of
far back.
predictable.
I mean, yeah, I think it went fine. Lando got first, right? And Oscar had second position and Max behind.
No, Max was. Yeah, Max passed him on the start. Yeah. And
Right.
then
Yeah.
Oscar passed him later. Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So I think the other big thing about the after qualification was even before the race started, we had some crashes and stuff, and
Yeah.
you already talked about Isaac Hajar, but lots and lots of rookie crashes during the Australian
Yeah.
GP. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah. So four out of the six crashed. Um, that's a lot. That's a lot for not only four out of six rookies, but we had Alonso and Carlos as well. So that's what, six crashes in the race? That's crazy. And I think that, it really was a tough first race for these rookies. Some of them have raced before and some of them haven't, but I we can chalk it up a little bit to rookie mistakes, but really we saw guys out there who are experienced crashing too. So I'm not gonna say it's because they're all rookies that they all had these crashes. It was just obviously it was disappointing to see they're all excited and really nervous to get in there. So it's just
Yeah,
disappointing.
totally. I kind of agree with that. And so here's another stat that I'm going to throw your way.
Yeah.
If I hadn't watched the race and I just read that there was six people that crashed,
Yeah.
there's no amount of money that I would have not have lost on a bet in Vegas when Lance Stroll isn't in that mix. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like
I
I was like,
absolutely.
if you read like
Monaco. I'm
six people crash, all right, Lance and who else? Not Lance
Lance
didn't
bumped
crash. Are
into
you kidding
people
me?
and
Yeah.
yeah, Lance got
Uh,
points. I know.
Yeah. Right. So
Absolutely.
just crazy. And then one other fun little side note that kind of hurts my heart, and I know it's going to hurt your heart. But
Yeah.
if you look at the constructor standings right now,
Yeah.
do you know who's ahead of Ferrari?
Don't say it. Is it Aston
Kick
Martin?
Sauber.
Kick Sauber?
Both.
Oh, with
Both.
Nico.
Yeah.
Nico got those
Yeah.
points. Yeah.
They're ahead of Ferrari. So did you have that on your bingo card?
No,
Yeah.
I didn't. Get that off my bingo card now. I can't believe it. But I feel like this is how Ferrari goes. They have
Yeah. I mean,
these
I think
big
they'll turn
rough
it around.
patches, and they'll turn it around eventually. I'm
Well,
sure.
so
But
what's been the meme about, or not the meme? It's not even a meme. What's been the pretty much the truth about Ferrari is they have even when they had Carlos, they have great drivers, they have a great car, and they
yeah,
terribly mismanage
oh
situations.
yeah, their strategy is it's just bad. They don't.
Yeah,
It doesn't seem
they
like
kept
they
them
know
on
what they're
wets
doing.
longer.
Yeah.
I was praying for like the track to miraculously dry while they were out on slicks
Hmm.
and everyone else is on inners, but no, of
Right.
course not. They're not.
No.
And then comically, Haas is like I don't know what the hell Haas is doing, but Haas, I'm thinking that they must have like radioed in and said, "Hey, what are Ferrari doing? Let's do what they're doing."
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
then they
probably.
make the same mistake too. So
You know.
Haas was in a spot, but whatever. But we can
Surprisingly
talk about
though,
the
I was gonna say that surprisingly though, for the race last week, Charles actually had the quickest pit stop, which normally comes from Red
true.
Bull. So I was pretty impressed with that. I was
Usually,
happy that they got that, but a small
well,
consolation prize.
true. You said it normally comes from Red Bull, but that's usually because Red Bull has two cars racing. But
Right. Right. Sure.
all right, that's enough about Red Bull. Yeah, so we should maybe talk about the people in the front for the for a little
Yeah.
while.
Okay, let's do it. I have big words for this.
Okay, do it.
Yeah, I'm going to start off with talking about McLaren. You know, John and I debriefed about it a little bit, but when it was happening, I was texting him saying, like, I'm so mad with McLaren right now. I just, the papaya rules, I don't know, it's a whole just jumble of, they're talking about they can race, they can't race. I feel gutted for Oscar, honestly, but I was really impressed with him and his willpower, I guess, when Formula One said that he was out for the race and he was able to pull it back together and get a point or two by the end of it. But yeah, I'm still upset with McLaren, whether or not it was the right call to have Oscar back off.
Yeah, so I agree. I mean, I was originally mad at McLaren because they said, "All right, boys, hold position." And
Right.
then the broadcast went on for a long time, and then you heard McLaren say, "All right, you're free to race." Well, in reality, we didn't find this. I didn't find this out until Monday or Tuesday that was just some sort of weird broadcasting that we got from F1, and we can talk more about broadcasting because of the Ferrari shenanigans. But
Hmm.
yeah, originally I was really upset, and like Zach Brown had made it very public all over different social media outlets that papaya rules are everyone can race, and then the very first radio call we hear is hold position. I'm like, what kind of
Right.
BS is that?
Yeah, absolutely.
So to me, it came off as kind of tone deaf, and however, when you have when I think about it with a little bit of context and understand that F1 looks at themselves, and FIA and the TV production looks at itself as an entertainment package, right? They're going to try and just like a reality show
Yeah.
kind of, you know.
Right.
So we kind of get it so that we get it in the audio in a way that is going to get clicks and going to get ratings.
Yeah. Right.
But if you look at it in the context of when we hear the whole position, the front runners were passing the back markers. I think it was Liam Lawson and maybe one of the Saubers or something, but they were passing lap traffic, right?
Right.
And and when it's rookies, we've already talked about this. Rookies get a little bit of latitude, but they also, because they get a little latitude, they don't always move over when they get a blue
Yeah.
flag as fast as everybody.
Right.
So it's rainy. You can't see me counting on my thumb, but when it's rainy outside, when they're passing back markers, I understand why they said hold position. What I don't understand is why we didn't get the message of you're free to race as soon as they pass the back markers. Because if it had come
Yeah.
across like that, it would have made a lot more sense to me.
I agree. And, I think it was probably the safer call to have Oscar back off. But I do think that because of that, that is the reason he started slipping up. Like he was in the mindset of passing Lando. He was told not to anymore. And I think whether it's the right call or not, it did mess up Oscar's game, I think.
Yeah, maybe because right after that he started falling off the pace. I don't
Right.
think that's why. I don't think that's why he crashed later on.
No,
It was
no.
it was much later on. I mean, and
Yeah.
something else that we need to talk about or just like give a tip of our hat to is the pass Oscar did on Max to go from third to second to even
Yeah.
get in this position was like,
Incredible.
yeah, I think the Latin word is cojones.
Okay.
Like he, yeah, like just to be able to pass
Yeah.
a guy that doesn't want to. Max doesn't like being passed, right? We all know that.
Right.
And then
Yeah.
he's passing him in wet weather, which I
Yeah.
mean, and he did it without crashing, without compromising position, without.
Yeah.
It was just great in a track that sometimes you can't pass on,
Right.
especially when it's wet. So I think that the fact that he got past Max is awesome. And then to your point earlier, when he kind of spins out, that's he was in second at the time.
Yeah.
And people forget that Lando kind of spun out, was able to recover it, stay in
Yeah.
first. And you're right, Oscar gets a lot of credit for because he beats his car, and 99 times out of 100, if you go into grass, you just drive out of the grass. But it was
Wet
wet, so
grass.
now
Yeah.
yeah, now he can't. So the fact that he was able to get himself out of there, make his car, as they called it on the broadcast, a front wheel drive car
Hmm.
by going in reverse, and then um, get back into a position where he can score some points for his team. That's huge. I mean,
Yeah.
that's got to be some sort of a moral victory, I would think.
Absolutely. I agree.
And that is one more thing I'll just say as it relates to the weather is that something that I probably hadn't considered ever before in my F1 fandom is the front runners are always going to be the guys that crash when it rains, right? We saw the broadcast,
Right.
four different teams are calling class three rain, class two
Yeah.
rain, in 2 laps and 3 laps and 1 lap, whatever.
Right.
The first people they're going to find it are the people out front. So the fact
Absolutely.
that Lando was able to keep it on the road
Yeah.
when and Oscar wasn't, that just kind of tells you that hey, Lando maybe is a notch above Oscar. So yeah.
You can say
So
that.
let's
I'll let that
huh?
that comment slide.
Well, I don't know, but I mean that kind of worked. But speaking of water, we probably need to talk about the
Oh
the
yeah.
Watergate, no pun intended, I suppose, with Ferrari. Tell me your thoughts on
Absolutely.
that.
Yeah. Well, I loved it. I love Charles, of course. So anything that comes out of his mouth, I'm happy to hear. But yeah, I was telling John this earlier, but I'm just thinking that John originally said that Charles was a prick for making that comment to his engineer, which sure, but I have to say that I think it's pretty impressive that when they're driving around at these like over 100 miles per hour, dangerous wet conditions, and he's able to like think on the fly and come up with like a witty response like that. I mean, that shows skill. Like that's very impressive. I can't come up with witty responses when I'm driving my car through 25 miles per hour. So, yeah, I'm impressed with it. It was funny. Ferrari always has like sound bites or just broadcasts in general. There's sound bites from it, so I think it's a well-deserved meme.
Totally. And to be fair, well, not to be fair, to be transparent, I think that I like to call Charles a prick, just because it riles you up.
Okay, got
You know what I
it.
mean? If you'd have said, "Oh, I love Lance Stroll," then that would rile me up. So,
Yeah,
um, yeah. When you hear it with a little bit more context, and then you understand that F1 mandates that their drivers, their intercommunication system is done in English, and it's Ferrari, the Tifosi's, the Scuderia's second language. So,
right.
there's a lot of things that are lost in translation. So, totally kudos to Charles for coming back with the throw that in the whatever he said the
Let's add that
like
to the
he
words of wisdom.
yeah, let's add that. Yeah, so
I'm getting it tattooed right here.
he even knows that it's a meme, so I thought
Yeah,
that was pretty funny. um But then on the other side of the coin, there's Lewis Hamilton, and I kind of
yeah,
wonder if that's a language barrier problem, because I don't know how many times they showed him being told to press the K1 button,
right.
and Lewis is like, and I don't know if maybe it's because Lewis is using colloquialese and slang by saying like I got it made or whatever it is that he's saying. Maybe the guy
Yeah,
just wasn't understanding it, but it'll be interesting moving forward, and that's something else that I should have brought up when you were talking about people crashing, is the thing that it wasn't just rookies that crash, it's people that were in new cars, like other than
yeah.
Fernando. People that were in new cars this race had a problem. Lewis really kind
Yeah.
of struggled.
Hmm.
Carlos crashed, but he crashed under a safety car, and that's a setting on your steering wheel.
Yeah.
And so we heard that it was some sort of weird over torque, but just him not knowing the configuration of all the whiz bang buttons that are on that steering wheel.
Right.
And then you look at uh, well, Doohan's kind of a weird outlier, right? Because technically, not Doohan, I'm sorry, Bierman. Um,
Yeah.
but Bierman's technically a rookie, but he raced in 3 races last year,
Hmm.
and he did really, really, really well
Yeah.
in 2 of the races, and then one of
Hmm.
the races he did really bad. And what was the common denominator? It was the Brazil race that was really wet. So I wonder
Yeah.
if Bierman. I'm kind of uh, maybe a hot take, but I'm kind of thinking that if he might have a bounce back coming up, just because as long as
Okay.
he doesn't have bad weather,
Yeah.
because his 2 out of the 4 races he's done as an F1 driver have been really good. 2 out of the 4 races have been bad, but they've been rainy. So
Yeah. Yeah.
um,
I hope he has
yeah,
a bounce back. When we first found out about him, I had hope for him. I am a little disappointed in these races, but you're right. It was rainy weather. He just needs to learn and adjust to that. So we'll see how he
yeah,
does.
and it's a steep learning curve. And then there's
Yeah.
certain people like back in the day, Valtteri Bottas and not Schumacher. What's the guy that just left for Haas? It's not in. What's his name? Moss. Man, Kevin
Lost.
Magnussen. No,
Okay.
Yeah, yeah. Those guys were like known as weather
Yeah.
specialists, right? Like,
Yeah.
you always thought, all right, well, this is a good chance for Valtteri to shine, even though it never
Yeah.
came to fruition because he was in a dumpster fire of a green car. But I'll leave that for a different.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, yeah. Any other thoughts before we talk about our predictions from our race?
Um,
Oh, I see. Actually, you had. Oh, you want to talk about Kimmy being the second youngest scorer?
oh yeah, absolutely. So Kimmy, as some people know, was the second youngest scorer in F1 history, just behind Max. Um, I did some digging though to see that Kimmy scored higher than Max did when Max got that title. So
So
Max,
you're saying Max was the youngest scorer before Kimmy?
yes, or
Oh, okay. I
no,
didn't know that.
where Max is still the youngest scorer ever, and Kimmy is second.
Oh, okay.
But Kimmy, in his first race getting points, got fourth position or fourth place, ended in fourth place, and Max got seventh. So I think there's
So
something to
Kimmy
say
got more
there.
points.
Yeah, Kimmy got more points. Max still holds that title, but I do think that's pretty impressive to put out there. He did get more points than Max had. So
It's if he was younger, it's just by like days then, because they're both
yeah,
18.
Yeah.
right? Yeah, I thought because I thought Max was
Oh,
18.
Max, we'll have to fact check that.
Okay.
It might be a couple months. I think there's a
Well,
couple
I'm,
of
I'm
months.
saying, but they were.
But
I
yeah,
think they were both 18, right?
maybe.
Yeah.
Max
Okay.
might have
Well,
almost be turning 18, but Kimmy is 18,
whatever.
so we can
Yeah.
assume. Yeah. That's my last thought. I just thought I'd point that out. He got more points than Max did when Max got that title bestowed on him.
Well, my last thought I would say is that we had kind of wanted to talk about papaya rules, but I think we kind of beat that horse to death. We had thought about maybe coming up with some cheeky drinking game uh, for every time we hear papaya rules on the broadcast, but I think that we'll let that one lie for a little bit. We'll see what the Chinese Grand Prix brings us, and if we have
Yeah,
to
how
deal with
often
this
they
again.
really talk about it. Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. Well, we
So
can
let's look
talk
at our
about
predictions
the
from last.
GP. Oh, yeah. Last week,
Yeah. Do you remember yours? I gotta find them.
I think I know that I got them wrong. I did have Lando
Yeah,
winning. I think I had Lando, Lewis, and Charles. That definitely
yeah.
didn't
Where
happen.
I think I had. Well, you had Lando, right? Then
Yeah, I got Lando, just not second and third.
let's see. Where did I? Hmm, I could have swore I had it pulled up. Oh, 1 second. Sorry, guys. All right, you had. I had Lando Max Lewis, so
Okay.
I got. I'll take 1.5 points.
Okay.
You had Lando Lewis Charles, so you get 1 point.
1 point.
Oh yeah, I'm already mad. Yeah, I had my bold prediction was that Aston Martin would not get points. So not only was I wrong,
Very
Lance is
wrong.
the Lance is the person that got points for Aston
Yeah.
Martin, and Aston Martin has more points than Ferrari. That's awful.
Yeah. My bold prediction was that Carlos will get seventh, and he definitely didn't get seventh. So got that one
Fair.
wrong too. But that's okay. I'll take a point for Lando.
Yeah, good. I like it. All right, so moving forward, we got China Grand Prix, and this is our first Grand Prix that has a sprint. What are your thoughts of the sprints?
I gotta say I'm not really a fan of the sprints. I've maybe watched one or two ever. To be fully transparent, I didn't watch this sprint. I don't even know the results of this sprint, but yeah, I'm not big on the sprints. I mean, I don't know how many points you get in the sprints. Honestly, I don't know. If you can educate me, go ahead, because
Yeah, I'm hoping that maybe somebody will chime in. I want to say that it was like 3 years ago, the sprint served as qualification for the GP, and I
okay.
loved that. I loved that.
Yeah.
So in a traditional format, right, you have three practices:
Mm-hmm.
FP1, FP2, FP3, and then quali,
Mm-hmm.
and
Right.
then the race. Um, in a sprint weekend, you have practice one, sprint quali, sprint quali. So there's not as many practices,
Mm-hmm.
which hamstrings each constructing or each team because teams have to sub rookies in. They're contractually obligated to throw some people in. So you know
Right.
that they're not going to be able to sub a rookie in on that particular race.
Right.
Um, I, I don't feel like so. I'm not a fan of the sprints either. You do get points through seventh position, and it's a lot less, but it's still. I do like that there's another way to get points because one thing that I wish that they did was, especially since they got rid of fastest lap, I
Mm-hmm.
wish that they had some way for us to get points besides just first through 10th. So
Right.
I do appreciate that, but I would love to see them go back to how you finish in the sprint is qualifying because then that would give teams another practice.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a lot of teams that don't care about the sprint, so now it would make them care about the sprint because
Right.
it's your qualifying result.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. I like that.
so I don't know. I think it'd be fun, but um, nevertheless, it is a point scoring event, so I feel like we should maybe make a prediction for the sprint
Okay.
um, or moving forward. I don't really care about picking who's going to qualify first.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you can just blank check me picking Lando from now on until I'm proven
Yeah.
wrong.
Right. Absolutely. I agree with that.
What are your thoughts
Um,
on China, though? China itself, the Shanghai GP or the Heineken Ring, I think is what it's called.
It's a street circuit, right? I don't even know.
Mm, no.
No.
Um, I don't
Do
know.
you have thoughts?
Yeah, I do. One of the thoughts that I would like just to make note of is that it's an easier track to pass on.
Yeah.
Um, and so generally that leads to good races, in my opinion. It's like everyone loves Monaco because of the mystique and the tradition of Monaco, but you can't pass on Monaco. It's like it's
No.
very
Yeah.
difficult.
Hmm.
Sadly, Vegas is kind of heading that way. There's lots of tracks out there that, especially with the cars being as wide as they are, they're more difficult to pass on. And China is not one of those, so I appreciate that about it. It's not like Silverstone or Monza or something like that
Hmm.
where you can really easily pass. But I don't know. I just I usually like these back to backs because so we had a back between no weekends between one race to the other. Um, but sometimes you see similar results from the Australian GP or the race prior. The only saving grace I think is just that we had rain and there's not going to be rain
Hmm.
in Shanghai. I don't think so.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
I just for the sprint, I have chosen in this order Lando, Oscar, and Max, and that makes
Okay.
me very vanilla. But like I said,
Well,
I think I should
yeah.
probably do,
When there's top dogs, there's top dogs. I
and
said,
hopefully I'm proven wrong.
well, yeah, we'll see. Max, Charles, and Lando for
And
my
then
sprint.
did you make a bold prediction for the sprint?
I said Lance crashes. I don't know if that's really bold or not, but I threw it in
So
there.
far, based
Yeah, so far that
based
it
on one
counts.
week,
It
that's
counts for now.
yeah.
Yeah.
I'll give you credit until we're proven wrong. But
Yeah.
my bold prediction is Mercedes doesn't get any points.
Okay.
So now remember, in the sprint, it's only first through the seventh. So
Right. Yeah.
that makes it a little bit tougher for Mercedes to score. But going bold.
Yeah. Perfect. Yeah,
So
I haven't
what about
seen the results, so I don't know. We'll find out. For the race,
yeah?
I put down Max, Oscar, Lando. Just switching around the names here and there.
Oh, I did Oscar, Lando, and Charles.
All
So
right.
Charles, I think, is a little bit of just opium. I don't know that the Ferraris are going to be there or not, but
Yeah.
um, and did you make a bold prediction?
Um, yeah, I'm sticking with my Carlos seventh. This is kind of me just like trying to manifest it, really than a bold prediction. I want it to happen. Seventh or above,
I
hopefully. But
If we get seventh or above, and what? So Albon got fifth and fourth and fifth, right? So yeah, which actually that's another maybe talking point, maybe for a different time. But
yeah.
I had a lot of doubts about Albon, and he's kind of proven me wrong. So and as the guy that is driving the Williams fanboy bus, I'm glad to see Albon doing well. But
Yeah, me
my
too.
bold prediction is double points for Alpine. So they didn't do very
Okay.
well in Australia. So I
Yeah.
also am thinking to manifest something. So
Okay.
Gasly and Doohan, you got to do something for me.
Yeah. Hopefully. And Doohan needs it after the spanking he probably got from Briatore last weekend. I hope that
Didn't
guy scores some
he?
points.
Yeah, well, I hope so too. But I mean, Alpine finished so strong last year. I thought they would be better, but I mean,
I
at least
know.
in Australia, they weren't very good.
Yeah. We'll see this week. Hopefully they'll be better.
All right. Any
All
last
right.
words? Wisdom?
No, I'm excited for this weekend. I don't know what time the race is at, but I'll be awake and I'll be watching and I'll be texting you.
Sadly, I will have to be watching it. I'll probably have it on, but probably be asleep because I think it comes on at midnight for us. So,
Okay.
and I'm working this weekend. So,
Yeah.
all
Well, perfect.
right. So we're
Let's sign
American
off.
Tifosi. Yes,
We are?
and please, we are. Yes, I'll let you sign off, and I'll just shut up now.
Okay. Well, we are American Tifosi, as you said. Make sure to comment, smash that like button, subscribe for more content. And we'll see you guys next week.
See you next week.
Bye.
Ciao.